Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mel. I'm a financial blogger, former shopaholic, and anti-hustle culture enthusiast. After a brief hiatus, I am back. I'm better than ever, and I'm ready to continue my financial wellness journey. I was moving, so that was taking up a lot of my time, and unfortunately, just working a full-time job, trying to find a place to live, it didn't leave a lot of time for YouTubing. Sorry. So, anyway, I'm back, and today I want to talk about paying yourself first. So, I like to think about my savings account from the perspective of that is me. I'm going to pay myself, and by myself I mean my savings account, because what am I going to do with the money? I mean, I'm going to go spend it on shoes and clothes and rosé. I don't need money. My bills need the money. Eventually, there might be a situation where I need to pay a bill that's like an emergency thing or a medical expense or something. So I need to have money in a savings account or rainy day fund or whatever you want to call it. But think about it like this. When you get your paycheck, let's just make it easy and say you get paid $2,000 every 2 weeks. So that $2,000, obviously there's going to be things that you need to pay right away, like rent, and utilities, just anything especially that's going to go on that might be affected by your credit score if you don't pay it. Anything like that, like just the most important things have to be paid first. And then anything that's left over, that's your salary to yourself. And that goes in your savings account, and that just stays there. Now, this savings account or rainy day fund or whatever you wish to call it, you could spend that on movie tickets or shopping, a vacation. You can spend it on whatever you want. It's your money. But the thought that having a savings account, if something did happen, you get a flat tire, you needed to go to the emergency room, and you have to pay out of pocket some of it for that, like insurance doesn't cover all of it or something. You broke your cell phone and you need to buy a new cell phone. That's going to come out of the savings account. So it's really important that you have a salary, because you don't get all of the salary you're paid, if that makes sense. Half of that or more is going to immediately go to bills. That's what that salary is for. So anything that's left over is your salary. It's your money. It could be fun money. It could be emergency fund. It could be whatever you want. But just the fact that you have it there if you need it for whatever you need it for is very important. So I didn't really think of my savings account or any of my money in general in that effect for the longest time. And that was, I think, what made life very difficult when it came to managing my finances. Because I would budget, and I would understand, okay, this is my budget, this is what I have to work with, this is my income. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to predict my income, especially when I was self-employed. I always knew how much my bills were, but I never knew what I needed. And when I started thinking of my money in terms of, you know, it's not really my money. I have to pay these other things. These other things come first. And eventually I would love to be able to keep my payments down as much as possible. I don't have a lot of expenses. It's just that I'm kind of maxed out at what I take in and what goes out as of right now. And that's why I'm considering getting a part-time job or something just to kind of bring in some extra money, because if I could pay down some credit card debt or student loan debt, that would clear up a lot more money that, instead of it going to somebody else, would go to me and could go in my savings account, and then that could be to just completely pay off something in full. I would love to be able to pay off my student loans within the next year or so. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, a larger chunk of change is going to be not as easy to just like, oh, here, you know, like, here's $15,000, or I don't have like, I have 2 loans, and I have one loan under my name and then one that's under my mom's name, so I have to just essentially pay her back. But as far as like what affects my credit score, I think I owe like $12,000 or like $13,000. But if I could get that paid off within the next couple of years, you know, my student loan payment is like almost $200 a month. Like, that's $200 that could go into my savings account, and 200 times 12, you know, that's a significant amount of money each year. And I may have mentioned in other videos, or if you follow me on Instagram, that my number one goal, my number one priority from now until it happens is buying a house. Like, that's been my dream my entire life, since pretty much like out the womb. Obsessed with houses, obsessed with, like, you know, I want to decorate it, I want to, like, just the whole thing. Like, I want to be a homeowner. That's my why. Like, I have, you know, like, this desire to be a homeowner, so whatever I have to do to make that happen. So I'm trying to clear, like, that's kind of that's the main reason why I'm really, really, really motivated to get out of debt this year. And that's why I'm doing the no spend challenge, is because I want to get out of debt, and I want to clear up anything that, like, my rent, you know, I'm not gonna be able to like just pay that in full. I have to save a lot of money to be able to do that. But so outside of my rent and my utilities, just anything that I can eliminate from like a monthly expense, so I can take that money and then put that into my savings account, and then just save and save and save, and then have money for a down payment. That's my goal. So that's, you know, when I think every time I want to get that t-shirt or those pair of shoes, or just anything that is not necessary, I have clothes. No, I don't necessarily like everything that's in my wardrobe, but I have clothes. Like, I'm not in danger of like having to leave the house naked. I have plenty of clothes in my closet. I just have to get a little bit more creative with how I wear things, and I'm gonna do another video on that for sure, because I think that could be really fun, and it's a challenge, and I'm always up for a challenge. So yeah, like, I have everything I need in my home. The only thing that, you know, I consume, and then like food, like, and I like to eat, and I just feel like, I don't know, food just disappears so quickly in my home. But so other than that, there's nothing I need to spend money on other than my bills and food and like gas. But I have a I don't drive a lot, so I pretty much just drive for work, and then occasionally on the weekends for like if I go to dinner or something, or like, but I don't really, I live in my little bubble, I live in my little cocoon, and I kind of just stay here. Um, so I don't spend a ton of money on gas. So I am really, I was going over my finances the other night, and I'm set to, I was kind of falling behind because of the move, like that did not help, but now that that's over and done with, I'm set to get back on track like mid-March, which I'm super excited about. Like, it really is significant to know that if I can stick to this and be really strict and focused, I could, like, I'll have like extra money to be able to put into savings every month and pay off debt just in a matter of like a month and a half. You know, we're almost at the end of February, or I'm sorry, we're almost at the end of January. Yeah, and so it's kind of like, it's really exciting. It's a really exciting time. Like just moving, and I was scared financially about the move, and you know, just like, is this like, am I totally messing everything up? And because I am kind of like over what I originally budgeted for my rent. I'm still within like my ultimate budget of like what I can afford, but I wanted to be like significantly under what I was paying for. But in a previous video, I just discussed kind of like why I ended up where I am, and why I thought it would be a good financial decision overall. So, but yeah, like, and then crunching the numbers, as they say, I was really able to, I'm really gonna be able to like get myself, you know, ahead in a matter of a few short months if I stick to this. So that's really good. Like, that's my motivation of like, it's not like it's so far off where like, oh my God, it's impossible, so screw it, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing and like going shopping and buying things I don't need. It's I have confidence now that I can do this if I just stick to it and stay on budget. So so that has been a really positive thing for me, and I think what I'm going to do is just at the end of every month go over my expenses, what I spent every month, and where areas where I can improve. I kind of already know though. Like, I'm able to recognize like if I go somewhere and I'm like, you didn't really budget for this and you don't really need this. But like if I can make it work and it's not gonna like dig me in a hole, like an extra latte, or you know, going to Del Taco, or you know what, just, it's fine within a limit. Like, I know a limit of like, don't go over this amount, you know, you'll be fine. My weakness before was always shopping, like going to the mall and going like buying clothes, and because I never would just buy like one thing. It was always like I would get this and this, and then I'd go this to go with that, and it would just snowball, and then I would end up spending way like beyond budget, and I would that would dip into like money for utilities or money for other things. And so I'm really good about like not going down that path, but there's just little things that kind of come up, you know, here and there. And I think like the no spend challenge, I don't want it to be something where like I'm stressing myself out about it, but I do want to be disciplined. So I think just finding a good balance of the two. So I think now that my move is over, like I'm in a good place and I'm ready to like get back on it. and this will be good. So back to the topic of paying yourself first. I know what you're thinking if you were like me or are like me sometimes, where it's like, I'm cutting it this close with my paycheck, like what comes in and then what's going out. I don't have like thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars to put away in savings. So what I started doing, and like it blows my mind how quickly it accumulates, but kind of think of it like, you know, say you owed somebody or a bill like every 2 weeks. Like, oh, you owe me $5 every 2 weeks or $15. Like, that's a small amount. It doesn't seem like a lot. Sometimes it's what you would spend on a latte or, you know, a bottle of wine or whatever, you know. Instead of putting that to like somebody else, give that to yourself. And then that also, if you set up something on auto pay, what I did was I have like 3 savings accounts, and I have auto something or other set. So every time I get a paycheck, I get direct deposit through my full-time employment, and every time I get a paycheck, $20 or $25 goes into my savings account from my paycheck. So it's just like automatically put into that account. And then I think once a month I have another savings account that $20 gets deposited on a certain day. I forget what day, but whatever, like it goes there. And so $20 gets deposited every month into that savings account. And then I do have an Acorns account and stash, invest, whatever. Those are more like kind of like retirement, long-term savings, but I have like a super, super small amount going in there just to start getting me in the habit of like letting money go. I'm weird about like hoarding money when it comes to like me. I don't know how to explain it, but anyway, so I just started setting these savings accounts on like autopilot, out of sight, out of mind. I'm gonna forget about it. I do a lot, and then I see like, you know, I'm looking at my bank account, like my checking account, like oh yeah, like that money went out for my savings account. And it just starts accumulating. And then the next thing you know, you're looking at your savings account and you have a ton of money in there, and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? Like, oh yeah, it came from me. And it's also good if it comes out automatically, because sometimes, like, if you do forget, I check my checking account daily, and they say you're supposed to check it in the morning, like the newspaper. Check it before anything else. Like, if you're one of those people who has to check your phone in the morning, like right when you roll out of bed, check your savings account, like on your mobile app. And so I always know how much money I have, and if I know I have a bill coming out that day, I have reminders set. And so it's kind of nice, like, if that money comes out first and goes into my savings account, because then it's like, okay, I know I don't have that. Like, if I buy something else, like a bill's coming out today or tomorrow, and then I don't want to get an overdraft fee or something, so I'm just not going to touch it. So I don't know, to me it's been a blessing to just set it on auto and let it come out, and that's it. And I don't think about it really. And if you are in a desperate time when you need it, it's there. But I'm trying to pretend it's not there. I'm trying to pretend like it doesn't exist and only use it literally in case of an emergency, or eventually like once it accumulates enough to like be able to pay off an entire bill or something like that. But yeah, and I like having, the reason I have multiple savings accounts is that different accounts earn different amounts of interest. So you definitely want to be researching that. And yeah, because there's some that like they're really, really crappy, like peanuts basically, like it's not even worth it. And there's some that are pretty decent, and you know, especially like the longer you let it just sit in there, the better. So yes, like you absolutely need to, it's a mindset thing. Like for me, even in times when I didn't make a ton of money and I was just struggling to like get utilities paid or rent paid or whatever, even if you have to start with like $5 a month, $1 a month, whatever, just get in the habit of saving it, because I'm telling you, it accumulates very quickly. And especially if you do like $1 every 2 weeks, or $5 a month, or like, or every 3 weeks or whatever, like it just starts to like, and then when you check the account and you start seeing like, oh my God, like I actually have money in there. It might not be like a ton of money at first, but it's just a really good feeling, and it starts to like boost your confidence of like, I can do this. And it might just take you more time to accumulate this money. Say you're trying to save $1,000 for something, a vacation, a staycation or something, like, or a new phone or whatever. Like it might take you longer than, you know, it might take somebody else, but don't worry about them. Don't worry about anybody else. This is your financial journey. And if it takes you 3 years, 4 years to save up to buy a new phone, that's money that you saved. You didn't put yourself into debt, credit card debt, whatever, to buy this new phone. You paid for it. You saved up for it. You've earned it. And then it feels better. It just feels better to know that you've earned something. And it's something to look forward to. And it's really good, especially if you're the kind of person who's like not really good with self-discipline. I was just so bad with self-discipline. Like I was like in certain ways, but when it came to money, I had no self-discipline. Like when I got to the checkout aisle at Target, just buying everything, like all the snacks, hair ties, didn't even need hair ties. I would just like, I needed it because it was there. I had like I was so bad. So if you kind of lack self-discipline, like this is a really good, it's kind of like a good like first step to just like getting into the mindset of a saver and a doer and making things happen. So a really good savings account, like obviously like go through your bank, but I started going through Credit Karma. They have a savings account that you can, and then I like it because, you know, while you're there, just checking like your credit score, like just keeping kind of up to date on things. You know, you can check your like how much you have in your savings account. So I would recommend that. But just, you know, talk to your bank. Like if it's easier or whatever, just to have a savings account through, you know, your checking account, because you get direct deposit or whatever. And also too, if your bank has any type of overdraft protection that's linked to your savings account, lifesaver for real. Like a lot of money during my move was like coming in and out, and there was a bunch of money coming in and a bunch of money coming out, and there was like this, it was over the holiday break too, so it's like all the banks were closed and like whatever, and there's like this weird like transitional period, and I would have overdrafted had it not been for my savings account. And then it was weird because like the money that they took out, like they put back in, I don't know, weird banking stuff that I don't understand. But yeah, so like get a checking account or a savings account that's linked to your checking account, lifesaver. So that's my video for today. I post new videos twice a week. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and be sure to check out my podcast, Fancy and Frugal. It's you can find it on the Anchor app. You can also find it on Spotify, and be sure to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and all the fun things I do on a budget.